Yo, welcome everyone. Welcome back to the Bleezyshow. Your boy Bleezy back here again. Today we're going to watch a little video that came across my feed today. Asmongold reacting to J.D. Vance, who actually went on Joe Rogan, interestingly enough. Now, J.D. Vance, I think, is probably the top front runner to go onto presidency next or run for presidency next. It would either be him or Rubio, I would think, to and it really could be either one. That's a bit of a toss up to represent the Republican Party. I'm not too sure, but I am interested to see this. I noticed that JD Vance has a lot of people talking about this interview, so I don't know if it was good or bad. And I'm watching Asmon's reaction to it because I love to see what the masses are thinking. You know,
on Joe Rogan. Here we go. Let's listen to the first one.
oh, is it a bunch of
I
clips?
guess the first one we'll listen to is the Epstein one, right?
We shouldn't watch the full one.
Where's the link to this? I guess we'll start with Iran, since we were just talking about Iran, actually. Just go down the list.
We got to kind of use all tools at our disposal. The military is one tool, but diplomacy is another tool. And I'm very frustrated by the Americans and frankly by people in other countries who are like, you cannot negotiate with the Iranians. Well, then what is your proposal to get people to stop shooting at ships in the Strait of Hormuz?
Blow them up, kill them.
What?
You can bomb them. You can take away their radar. You can take away some of their drones and some of their missiles, but it's just too easy
So Asmon
to fire.
Asmon instantly, right off the rip, says bomb them, and instantly JD Vance is like, well, what are the masses going to think we should do? Bomb them. And it's like, okay, that's not how the world works. It could be, but Iran's a bit bigger than you think. Iran isn't like Madagascar, like the Vatican or something. Okay, the Vatican was probably bad
Ships in
example.
the straits,
But
so you've got to actually
they're a
be
big
willing
nation.
to talk and to try to figure out the problem.
You have to get rid of the government, and then have the government enforce it, and then stop the rest of them from doing it.
What is there?
You have to get rid of the government. Have the government start enforcing? I think we've tried that, right? We've overthrown governments, put our own leaders in there. I don't think we've done that with a country the size of Iran. Iran, unfortunately, for everyone else involved, has some very crucial oil choke points and like resource choke points. I'm not saying they have all the cards because they most certainly do not, but we also have to decide how much is worth. It's, we've already accomplished our goals, I feel like. We've already deterred their nuclear program, even if they say they're not ever going to stop. I mean, okay, we'll just have to keep deterring it. And as long as that keeps working, I guess there's not a huge deal. But besides, just constant conflict, ships probably getting hit, Hormuz getting close. But as we look at on this channel, even just earlier, oil prices, they've gone up a bit since this re-escalation. They have not hit back to where they were during the height of the Iran-U.S. drama. So it's still a bit lower than there by a good chunk too. So that means that at least markets aren't even pricing in too much more escalation from here. And that comes with threats toward the Red Sea this morning. Iran asking directly the Houthis to be prepared to close down the Red Sea. And that's if like the US and them can't come up with a new deal or something. I'm not too sure. And I guess it's because the US threatened to bomb their power infrastructure. So
Proposal. The people that think you shouldn't negotiate with Iran.
I think that their proposal is to bomb and bomb and bomb.
Yes.
And the honest view, Joe, is that they do not actually have a solution. If you actually ask them, what do you want us to do? What is the goal that you're trying to achieve? They'll say things like, we'll just bomb them to oblivion.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that. We can drop a lot of bombs. But what does that accomplish if there's still a crazy person who's still unwilling to shoot a few drones at the Strait of Hormuz?
I don't even see how negotiating with
That's a
them is
good
going to
point.
solve that, personally.
What the president has
you don't see how negotiations can solve that. Okay, to be fair, yeah, I mean, you're not going to negotiate a leader out of their position. Didn't we just kill their supreme leader? Isn't like the new one his son or something. We killed his whole family, and he's super injured too. He hasn't even shown his face, I don't think. So, I mean, we've already kind of tried it, right? To just
done, I think
kill their
very,
leaders.
very capably, has said we're going to use military force in this situation when it's connected to something we're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
So if you shoot at ships, we're going to shoot at the facilities at which you use to shoot at the
ships, yeah.
ships.
Sure.
But we're not just going to do something
I like
open-ended
that.
indefinitely. We're not just going to bomb and bomb and bomb. We're going to try to use our military force as one of the many tools that we have to solve.
You know what I'm gonna do? Just for this Asmon video, also, pardon me, I'm gonna move my cam up just a bit so you guys can see the chat. Asmongold'S chat is
problem. And
prepare
obviously,
yourself.
like, I'm
That's
biased,
all I
but
can
think
say.
that's
Prepare
exactly the right
yourself.
approach. I actually, I think you have to read between the lines a little bit, because if you look at what Mike Pence or some of the conservative hawks, like people who voted for us but have been very critical of me, very critical of the administration, if you actually look at what they're proposing, they just want the military campaign to go on forever, and they can't actually identify what it is that they're trying to accomplish. None of them can identify what it is they're trying to accomplish. And I read two things between the lines.
That's a pretty big statement. I was waiting for Asmon to pause there because that's pretty big. They're basically saying that we've done our best to come up with the plan of the future and what we're trying to move to, but we can't actually get them to say what they are wanting to move toward. That's a pretty big statement.
I think some of them want us to accomplish a complete change in the government of Iran, to
That's what I want.
topple the clerics
Yeah.
and replace that.
Again, like, didn't we just do that? I think we just did that, right? And then just picked his son, or they picked the next highest ranking person. We're not talking about like some terrorist regime. I mean, you can call them whatever you want, okay? But what we're talking about in reality is the government of the Islamic Republic of Iran. So there's like a whole system there. They're a whole country. They have systems. I don't know if they have elections or not. I'm not familiar with how all that works. But you're talking about replacing the leader of, this isn't some small country. Okay.
Those clerics with somebody who's
We tried
much
already
further.
bombing
But
them.
Yeah.
like, look, what is our experience with doing that? It's
Not
awful.
good.
It's
Yeah.
not good, right? And so, like, if the Iranian people want to rise up and change their government, that's up to them. But we're not going to
It's
sit.
not though, right? I mean, if they're getting shot and like massacred in the streets, then you've kind of got to get rid of them.
Okay, what he's talking about getting rid of in that sentence would be the IRGC or whatever. Their corps, their army. I don't know. I'm sure they have different wings and armies and branches and all that shit. But I kind of agree with him a bit on that point. What Asmon just said. It's like, well, I think some people have tried, but they just got killed. I know I have seen videos. I have seen more videos of people like mourning the death of their supreme leader, people that like were supporters of the government. I've seen more videos of them taking the streets than the opposite. So maybe that's just what I've seen. Maybe that's not really the case in totality, but that's just what I've noticed.
I mean, like, yeah. I mean, like, they tried, and they got massacred.
And 150,000 ground troops in order to.
Let's check that. Did Iran massacre civilians for protesting in the last several years? I'm not saying he's lying. In the last several years, international human rights organizations, journalists, and various reports have documented that Iran's security forces have been engaged in lethal crackdowns against protesters, resulting in high civilian casualties. Okay? The most recent severe events occurred in January 2026. Following the eruption of nationwide protests January 8, 2026, security forces, including the IRGC and police units, carried out a crackdown on the volumes of live ammunition, metal pellets, and lethal force. Key details: scale of fatalities. Estimates of the death toll vary significantly due to internet shutdown and government restrictions on information. while the Iranian government acknowledged 3,117 deaths. Holy shit. Other information. Other investigations suggest the death toll could range into the thousands, with some estimates exceeding 30,000. Holy shit. Damn, they're shooting protesters in the head. Okay, well, yeah, fuck these people. What the hell? Internet shutdowns, that's already bad enough. If you're the government that has to stop the flow of information because you think that all the bad information, you know how much bad information and non-true information about the US is put online every single day? So much. So much more than Iran or probably any other country. Seriously. And maybe, I don't know what they think is gonna happen. Like, if you do enough good, it's going to prevail. Okay. Like, if you're the one who's having to like force people to not use the internet, to not have basic freedoms in 2026. Imagine we just watched that SpaceX video where we are trying to send humanity to other planets within my lifetime. And yet there's still countries that don't let girls show their hair. There's still countries that like, if you protest the wrong way, you get sniped in the head. Like, what? These people are lost. So I kind of agree with Hasman. I guess we're not going to agree with how it needs to get done, probably at all. But
To accomplish
he's got a point,
change.
right? He's got a point. If they're trying, what percentage, roughly, it's going to be impossible to know this for certain, of Iranians support their government compared to not? This is one thing I'm going to ask when we'll get going with the video. It's very low support base, but is this like, what are these new, it's like they're citing sources, but I can't actually see the source. Is that why? That a significant majority, roughly 70 to 81%, oppose the continuation of the Islamic Republic. Okay, well look, now I kind of see what Asmon's saying. If they're at the point where it's like, I thought this number is way lower. If they're at the point where it's like 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, even half of people want a change like that, and that's significant, then yes, it's something needs to give.
Change in a regime unless the people on the ground themselves want to accomplish that outcome. Now, we're not going to send the troops in regardless, but like to propose sending in the troops, you're basically saying that the U.S. military should do the job for the Iranian people. We're not in that business anymore. We're just not.
Okay, I kind of like that. I like that statement. Hasman might not like that statement, but how many different wars have we been, have we injected ourselves into? Even if the good things happened out of it, it's like, I don't know. Was it really worth it? In some cases, there's just so much nuance to it.
And I think the second outcome that people or whether they're aware of it or not, is what I call the Libya outcome. So if you look at the end result of our Libya policy...
We should have never killed Gaddafi. He was a G. I always thought Gaddafi was super cool.
Well, I don't think I need to comment on that. I'm not as familiar with Gaddafi as Asman probably sounds like he is, so all I've heard is bad about him and that he was brutal and just dictatorish, right? I don't know if he was technically a dictator.
I like the way he dressed. I like the way he acted. The guy was a badass.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Should have never got rid of him.
After Gaddafi was killed by the Obama administration, by the way.
I'm not even convinced on Saddam. I'm not. Like, maybe he was a bad guy. But like, I don't know, like, I mean, that was our boy. Like, yeah.
Saddam Hussein was our boy? Is that what? Is that what bro just said? And he's not sure if Saddam Hussein was a bad person? Right? I don't think I guess I know what he's doing. He's just rage baiting, but I don't know enough about them to be able to argue it back. Obviously, I know Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, but
I mean, I guess we had to get rid of like Osama bin Laden. We had to get rid of him, right? Because like 9/11, but like he lost weight. Yeah.
Again,
Saddam was a psycho. Good. Thank God. You think the guy running Syria's not a psycho? He's a total psycho. Great. Amazing. We need somebody like that. He was awful
let me
to
finish.
his people. Good.
You what?
Somebody like that. He was awful to his people. Good. Keep him under control. Gassed his own people. Which ones?
very stupid decision.
What? Gassed his own people? Which one? Is that some kind of like weird Hitler reference or something? So Asmon just clearly is very hard line. Like, if someone makes a mistake, that's the end of them. That's how Asmon works. I mean, ask him when you're in his stream next time. Ask him to hold up his hand. Ask him what happened to his finger. I mean, I think Asmon might be the least alpha of a male I've ever seen. Like, I think he's the exact opposite of an alpha male. Not that anyone should aim to be that, I guess. He's rich, so I mean, he's got that. Way to go. He's probably going to be the first streamer billionaire, YouTube billionaire at this rate. I mean, if Mr. Beast or one of those guys hasn't already gotten there. So I'll give him that, but I think that's about all Asmon's got, right? I'm pretty sure Asmon has never had sex. Like, he had a girlfriend that was pretty hot. She did like OF, but I don't know. I grew up in a city where I was friends with a lot of different groups, okay? And people like Asmon, I feel like that girl probably just wanted some money. Maybe he got some head every now and then. You know, maybe she was drunk enough or something, but girls don't like disgusting dudes. I can tell you that. Like, girls have issues when guys are, like, not taking care of themselves, right? Like, that's pretty fucking disgusting. I mean, maybe she really didn't care, but, like, I'd bet, like, $100 that Asmongold's a virgin. I really would. I don't think he's had sex. That's not the worst thing in the world, okay? You're missing out a little bit, but it's okay. You're not missing out on the entire existence. You can still live a decent life, I guess, but I don't really see him settling down with a woman. I don't really see him ever having sex. Like, he's just not I don't want to think about that too much, to be honest with you. But it's just one of those people where it's like he's so harsh on everyone else. And it's like, why? Like, you're besides your money, you're the bottom of the totem pole, my guy. Like, besides your money, that's all you got. Sure, I would love to have that money. Everyone would love to have that money. Man, would I sell all the relationships I've had? Would I sell being able to catch a football without deforming my finger? Would I be able to say things like, man, we should just kill homeless people? He just says that. Like, he just straight up says we should round them up, throw them in a box. He has even said worse than that. He said graphically, like, violent things. He's been banned for it. So I would never promote that. I would never. Homeless people need help, and you know what? There's a lot of homeless people who don't want help and will never get help, and will just keep using until they die. Keep whatever their vice is, it'll just keep hurting them until they die. That's kind of just the world. The best we can do is offer resources, but we all know Asmon doesn't want to do that. He needs one with all the money. So he's going to lobby, and people way richer than him are going to lobby. Just make sure we don't spread our resources out that far, you know. We want to consolidate. And then when someone makes a mistake, someone's down bad on their luck. If they've done something that Asmongold doesn't like, then let's round them up, bomb them to death. He just called us a bomb them all to death just a couple minutes ago. This very
What
video.
happened?
We're 5
Libya
minutes into the
basically turned
video.
into a failed state.
It did.
You had a refugee crisis. You had people
It's a shithole.
pouring into Europe, pouring into other
And
parts.
he said that, by the way. Gaddafi said that.
Okay, let's see this. I'll learn a little bit more about Gaddafi. He was a little bit older than me, like this whole saga.
Look what he
Slightly
fucking
older
did.
than me. Or at least I was too
One
young
of the
to
most
pay attention.
widely cited quotes from Muammar Gaddafi comes from 2010. Tomorrow, Europe might not even be European or even black, as there are millions who want to come in. We don't know what will happen. What will be the reaction of the white and Christian Europeans faced with this influx of starving and ignorant Africans?
You know damn well Asmon just clicked right when he read that. Let's see if his eyes lit up.
Happen. What will be the reaction of the white and Christian Europeans faced with this influx of starving and ignorant Africans?
No, his eyes didn't light up as much as I thought they would. I thought he'd get a nice little grin when he said that. Because he's just, that type of person. But, I mean, I can tell you right now, Asmon's about to say he loves this guy. Or something. Because he's speaking about something obvious. Obviously, you need to make sure the people coming into your country are decent people. Passing some kind of check, having their paperwork. They need a plan. It's their plan when they come in. But that doesn't mean you, kill the people that already made it in. That doesn't mean you, round them up, throw them in a camp. No, you just either slow down the immigration or, just kind of admit things got too far, maybe. Then we got places like America where we said, okay, things got too bad. Now we need ICE. So ICE has done now. They've taken all the GED, straight up college dropouts. Not even college. I'm talking high school dropouts. No college. No university. And they went straight into whatever they were doing in life, probably working at McDonald's. And then they went into the police because they got hired. Because they need anyone they can get because they have to round up millions. There's still people, if you check the 24-hour busted in my own city, every single day it's immigration enforcement. That'll be the only thing they're arrested for. Immigration, ICE, hold for ICE. And it's every single day, it's tons. 10 to 20 a day, just posted online. And that's been for the last year. That's just my city. Actually, the last 2 years, I think. So, I don't know. And then what happened is, now, since it got so bad, and maybe it was getting kind of bad, but now they have to catch up so much that ICE is told to just go out and get them. Whatever you have to do, we'll make sure you don't get in trouble for it. Just go out and get them. Now we got people getting completely assaulted, legally assaulted, and get thrown in away. Before it's proven, before anything's proven, is the big thing.
If you do not pay me, millions of Africans will come knocking on your door. You're bombing a wall that stood in the way of African migration to Europe. You will burn in hell for thousands of migrants from Africa.
What? That guy clearly did not like Africans.
Whether they're aware of it or not, is what I call the Libya outcome. So if you look at the end result of our Libya policy after Gaddafi was killed by the Obama administration, by the way, again, a very stupid decision. What happened? Libya basically turned out, again, a very, very stupid decision. What happened? Libya
so stupid or so base? What did you just say? I think it just says so stupid.
Libya basically turned into a failed state. You had a refugee crisis. You had people pouring into Europe, pouring into other parts of Asia, other parts of Africa. You had a lot of violence, a lot of terrorism come from that. I do think that there are people who...
There it is. He was right. He was right about everything. That was crazy. Thanks, Obama. I know. It's clearly done on purpose, too. Yeah. I think you would support all these wars if they were happening at this moment. Well, yeah, and I don't know about Libya. I was always confused by Libya.
Would like that.
I am too. Libya was a bit of a.
But then I say again,
I don't have all the information I need.
How is it?
There's some countries where their conflicts have been going on for double my lifetime. It's it would take way too long to try to catch up on all of the new ones. And you know what? At the end of the day, Like Israel, for example, they're still fighting back for like things that happened to them decades ago, and some things that happened to them lately, and they're just gonna always be fighting because at some point, they're gonna start attacking people that had nothing to do with it. It was their fathers or grandfathers. They didn't even agree with it, but now they have to get back at you because you just bombed their school children. You just bombed their hospitals. So now you just created a whole new generation of people who hate America. It's obviously very nuanced. There's so much to
interest
it.
to have 94 million desperate people flooding into Europe, flooding into the United States, to have, sort of the terrorist infrastructure that can get established when you fan terrorists all over the world.
He's totally right about this.
Fan
If he knew
terrorists
that, the
across
higher-ups
the world.
knew
I mean,
that,
if they're
exactly,
a terrorist,
That's why Obama's a traitor. Does JD not wanting regime change in Iran make you not want to support him in 2028 for president? What have I always said? I don't agree with JD Vance on the outlook on this. I think that Iran is an existential threat, but I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Like, yeah, if I could pick somebody that more closely aligns with... If I could pick somebody that's 10 out of 10, I'd pick somebody who's 10 out of 10. But if I have to pick somebody who's 8 or 9 out of 10, I'm going to pick somebody who's 8 or 9 out of 10.
So he's saying he doesn't like that Vance isn't as harsh as he would be, but he still kind of likes Vance overall. I think it'll be a run between, if Trump doesn't pull some cards for a third term, which I'm not counting out. I'm really not. I would even say I'll give it a 33% chance that happens, a 33% chance that Vance runs, and a 33% chance that Rubio runs. It'll be one of those three.
I'm not going to go
Probably.
and let somebody who's 1 out of 10 go and be the person instead of somebody who's 9 out of 10. Yeah, let's say, if it comes down to voting, would I vote for J.D. Vance? Absolutely, I would. Same with Marco Rubio. I immediately would.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, well, okay.
Why is that?
I could have seen
It's
that
because
coming.
I agree with most of what they're doing, and I think that they move things in a direction that...
You know what's crazy? I'm independent. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I have some Republican values and I have some Democratic values. I'm from Tennessee. Okay, it's a very, very right Republican state. Okay, there's some pockets here and there. My actual city's a little bit in the middle, but we still put in conservatives, and that's who ends up winning the elections each time. So, and still, I've seen the worst of the right, and I've seen the worst of the left. Okay, I've been to California a couple times. Went to Skid Row, stayed in Skid Row. Also stayed in nicer places in California, but Skid Row was a big wake-up call. There were people literally just walking down the street shooting up. I actually landed in San Francisco one trip. Went to Santa Rosa and a little bit north, NorCal, or kind of NorCal. It's like mid NorCal, and there were people just straight up shooting up on the street, like heroin needles. People just blue-haired. Somehow managed to dye their hair with no money, or at least didn't spend their money on fentanyl right away. And it's just wild because obviously California is very democratic, and that is not a place you want to live. I'm serious. California's huge. Okay, there's great neighborhoods. I'm sure there's bad ones all around, just like anywhere else. But I would never live anywhere close to the cities over there, like the big cities. It's disgusting. I mean, you might just be walking. You could never walk the street without shoes on. Not that you would do that anyways, but better watch out. You're in socks, you might get a needle through your foot. That's what I'm trying to say. It's wild. If you say the wrong thing to the wrong junkie, they might just stab you with their needle. It's crazy. That's not okay. We shouldn't promote that. I'm not saying we should go out and round them all up. I don't really know what we should do. I'm 29. I
Now,
don't
would
have
there
any
be
idea.
other people that would want to vote for instead of that? Yes, I think so. Would I want somebody who's more extreme in some cases? Yes, I would. But I don't think that's not always realistic. And you have to be realistic. And so what I do is I look at what is the next step. Not what's the last step. What's the next step? And you take steps one at a time. Every once in a while, two at a time. But usually one or two at a time. You haven't.
I'm not too sure what he's saying right there. He's wanting just, I think Asmon's whole stick now is just the extremist. He just wants
You say this makes me wonder how people vote.
wants to
I
raise
think that
eyebrows
there is
by
not a
reactive
wrong
stuff.
way to vote. The only wrong way to vote is the way somebody else
At least he
tells
speaks
you
his
to vote.
mind.
I'm giving you my reasoning, and I think this is the way people should vote. But if you don't agree with the way that I see things, and you think that things are different, you have every right to vote for something different. Does that make sense?
Wow. Wow.
So,
Take a moment. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Take your
like,
ass.
you don't need a tyrant to rule over religious. You need a tyrant to rule over
Someone
religious
said mind
fanatics. I
blown.
agree
Yep,
with
that's
that.
just-
Yes,
wow.
definitely. Now, you used to say you didn't vote because you didn't believe in choosing the lesser of two evils candidates, but now you're saying you'd vote for that. What changed your philosophy? What changed? Because, yeah, I used to say not voting for lesser of two evils. The reality is that it's a case-by-case basis decision. That's
Breaking news. There's nuance in politics. Okay? New breaking news. There is some nuance that goes into play when choosing an elected candidate. Okay?
really what it comes down to more than anything. It's a case-by-case basis decision, and I don't do or make any decision on anybody. Like, I have general principles that I make decisions on.
Yeah, better watch yourself there. Hang on.
Each individual decision specifically is going to be decided specifically, right?
Except when it's like someone that's in the country, right? And they haven't, like, they're in the country and it's just claimed, it's accused that they're not here legally or something happened in their paperwork or processing. But as soon as, without any proof, no proof, as soon as, that's the case, that's not true then. Because Asmon just completely lied through his teeth. As soon as it's Iranians, defending themselves or whatever you want to call it, attacking us unnecessarily, whatever you want to call it, all of a sudden it's blow them up, blow them apart. So I don't know.
The less
That's certainly a case by case basis, and maybe maybe
yeah,
Iran's
right. I mean,
a
that's
bad
a case
example
by case,
there.
exactly. And I think also, like, I think I downplayed the cultural value of it. I think that the cultural value and the cultural implications of Trump winning the election were a lot larger than just simply what happens in Iran. I think that him winning the election
What happened to his face?
has
For some reason, this video is not in the best quality. Even it says 1080p. But his face looks super
made
red.
a lot of impact in terms of, like, for example, how people see the country, or how they see, America, or, how they see things.
That would be a weird place for like a sunburn too, because it's only like right here. That does burn, but it doesn't have like a sunglasses mark, like a tan line from sunglasses. So it's like, looks like he kind of scratched himself. Why did he do that? Surely Asmongold's a pretty happy guy, right? I would think he's super happy with all that money, right? I mean, come on now, what's going on? Why would you do that? I was just slapping myself on stream the other day, softly, jokingly. But I'm not one to speak on depression or mental health issues. Even Asmongold, I hope the best for the guy. We might disagree on something. We actually don't disagree on as much as you might think, but
Things like DEI.
some things we definitely disagree.
And I think that the cultural value of that
I hope
means
he's
a
not
lot.
hurting himself. Or
And it's
any
always
kind of
better to
pain.
have a win than an L.
Yeah.
That's the way I would see it.
I talk a lot of
And
shit
also,
about him, but
here's
it's because
another
he
angle
has
for it is that,
You got to kind of use
like,
all.
South Africans are getting murdered at, like, very high rates by, like, random crazy people, and they're being murdered in a rate.
There's also, if you can see, there's a little darker spot right on it. So it's like there's some kind of, it almost crosses over. You would expect it to cross more on this side if it was a sunburn. Like it would be about even under both eyes if it was sunburn. I mean, if he's just under the sun, his whole face would be red, or if he had glasses on, maybe just right here and right here would be sunburn. I'm super pale, so I know that. We've lived the same life, my guy. Except I just, did some other things for a while. But, you know what? I wish I would have chosen the stream and YouTube route. I do. I wouldn't trade my memories for anything in the world. But maybe these last 5 or so years, I mean, I've just been not Besides college. I mean, I'm halfway done with college, my degree.
Racial way, like they're being killed racially. And because of that, there are a lot of South Africans that are
I don't
just
know why I'm
simply
focusing on it so much, but yeah, it's only like a little bit right here on the left side. And that's huge on the right. What would that be, though? Almost just looks like he's wiping his face, right? But like red for days, because that was on a stream the other day. Someone actually commented on it. Now that I remember. Wait a second. Investigator Michael on the case. It's not a punch or anything. Punch would have bruised, not scratched. This looks like a scratch. But since it's like right on his nose. An animal? No, because an animal you'd see it more defined. It'd be like a line and a line because there's space between their claws. So he just straight up, I think, just scratched maybe like this. Too hard. I don't know why I was doing that.
be okay with this.
I hope he's
because
alright.
they'd rather be murdered than be racist. And so there are a lot of people I've realized that will literally go down with their ship. And I think the best way to handle that is to just make it happen as fast as possible. Anyway, let me go back. Okay, here we go. Let me look at this.
So he's just a clip
Joe
watcher?
Rogan
He's not watching the whole thing?
Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night.
Holy shit, that means I'm gonna go to bed at like 4 a.m. I'm gonna look like a total crazy person when I'm trying to go talk about this book. But
Yeah.
it amazingly it did work out. Honestly, it actually helped a little bit because
You could do that.
what's crazy about it to me is just how much the sport has replaced boxing. And like there's still obviously boxing is still a big deal and fighters still get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
But like I remember when I was, I don't know, in high school, I feel like
Elevate the hips up and pull it way back so you'd almost.
I think the reason why MMA is more entertaining than boxing is another really big reason
I didn't
is
even know
that
what they were
there
talking
aren't
about.
really any big names in boxing that are super interesting. Like Mike Tyson, people came to see Mike.
That's true. I agree. I think the biggest problem with fighting is that there's very rarely like a storyline to get behind. They try really hard to create these storylines, but it just doesn't really click.
Mike Tyson fight. People came to see Muhammad Ali fight. People would even come to see, I think those are the two goats of boxing, right? But then you have the people under that, like George Foreman, Floyd Mayweather, even, right? And like these guys, I think that the personalities
Isn't Floyd,
really
like,
do
undefeated?
carry MMA. MMA, in a weird way, is almost like wrestling, but it's actually real. The guys are actually retarded, and they're actually fighting. Big difference.
That's a good point. I mean, the thing is, they just allow a lot more. That's the only thing I know about it. Like, there's boxing, you're not allowed to do certain things. Kickboxing, you're probably not allowed to do certain things. In MMA, I think you're just allowed. Like, you're just allowed. If you can do it, if it doesn't kill them instantly, and even then, I mean, they would probably not ban you right away. It would just be banned after someone died. So, I mean,
be
So you'd, like,
bridging.
bend it.
He would
Yeah.
be on the top
I'm
of
not
his
a big- I'm not a
shoulders
huge
and
fight.
bridging,
I
and then he
watched
would have
the-
broken his arm. The other option.
I'll watch when there's like a celebrity or like a returning legend or like some kind of storyline that's very obvious. I'm not a huge fighting watcher. I am a fighter myself.
is you pull it off. To
Not
the
a trained
side
one, but
like
I'm a bit of a
this,
scrapper.
and you put it to the
I'm
side
too
of your
skinny
hip.
now. I'd get my ass kicked.
Kill Tony. Do you remember he told like the
You look at
joke
my
around the
Instagram and my
White House
TikTok.
or
Oh, yeah.
Right now, you'll see some
2024 election.
old
I
workout
remember
vids.
getting
Let's
into
do
an
it.
argument with somebody about this, and I may have even been like in an interview, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. It could have been private too. Anyway, I'm like, he told a joke.
Is that wherever they were living was not tenable.
Yeah.
It was falling apart. And
Okay.
all of these places like
Almost
New
looks like they're
York,
skipping around.
Intelligent when I'm talking. I'm joking around. Like, obviously, a lot of the MMA fighters are very intelligent, and they're not all dumb retards, right? I'm joking about it. But like, my point is that before, like, I'm friends with a couple of these people, right? I've talked to them before. Like, they're really nice, good guys. And, like,
Yeah, this clip is horrible. Someone just said it in their chat. He's just like jumping around. This is a horrible clip. I mean, it looks like he goes on for quite a while.
many of
So
them-
maybe
some are, of course, some are,
Maybe
right? I mean,
it's
but like
some ones.
overall, I think that's the same as anything. My point is, though, is
like
that
I was listening to
MMA,
Vance's
I
last
think that
statement.
better, like boxing and MMA are male sports. These are male activities. Women aren't watching MMA. Women aren't watching boxing, and to the
I think they would still like to sell to the ones that do, right? Because there are some, they don't cater to women. No, and they shouldn't cater to women. This isn't like Blizzard catering to Disney, in their video games. I don't think there's that much harm in that's
That they are, it's at a like 20-to-1 ratio. It is overwhelmingly combat
Sure.
sports are for men. And
But why would you not still want their
MMA
money?
being run by a bunch of fucking beefy bald guys that let people say whatever the fuck they want and there are no rules to it is exactly what every young guy wants to watch. That's it.
Really, California, like especially Los Angeles and San Francisco, they're falling apart.
Sure are.
And I have a bunch. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Why is it that large population centers...
Dude, like he was making a point. I wanted to hear what Vance had to say. We even just talked about that on stream. I wanted to hear what Vance has to say about California. Not that I probably don't already know it, but
centers,
I would've liked
like
to
places
heard-
like Los Angeles and New York, are almost
Hope he plays better
always
plays.
run by the Democrats.
Yeah.
Like, what is it about... First of all, what happened with the last election?
okay, and Texas is always run by Republicans, and their electricity entire grid falls apart anytime a little piece of snow comes out of the sky. Okay.
Oh my god,
There's
this
some
is literally
nuance
the
to it.
worst clip I've ever seen in my entire life. Let me go to the next.
Okay, good. He called it. He called it bad. Thank you. What the hell was? I just feel like I lost brain cells from watching that. Jesus Christ.
Next one.
This is a dude who knew everybody. He knew everybody.
Jeffrey
So,
Epstein.
look,
So where
don't
did his
know.
money come from?
well, from given part of it is suspect tax advice and setting up tax schemes for a lot of very, very rich people.
Right, but why was...
I think JD just held back on that. I think that he's like, well, ooh. I think he held back on that. Did you guys notice that? Watch
He
it
thought
again,
about it a
yeah.
bit, yeah. What was the question that
Well,
Joe
from
asked
given-
him? Let me see what the question that Joe asked him. Where did his money come from?
This is a dude who knew everybody. He knew everybody.
Jeffrey
So,
Epstein.
look,
So where
don't
did his
know.
money come from?
Yeah.
I think he held.
part of it is
Part of it. Suspect. He's like, oh no.
I think that.
suspect.
Listen, with the whole Epstein thing, it's horrible. There's nothing else to say. And you know what? Pam Bondi, she stood up in front of Congress and said if we expose the people that are in those files, the whole system would fall apart. That was kind of my final answer. As soon as Pam Bondi said that, I don't even think she works there anymore at the DOJ or whatever. As soon as she said that, I had no more questions left. I mean, every conspiracy theorist in the world won at that point, at least with the Epstein stuff. I mean, that was kind of all you needed to hear. If you have any critical thinking skills at all, that was probably all you needed to hear after everything else had happened,
Tax
Because I'm always one to reserve judgment. I really am. I try to be neutral until I can. I'm not a fence sitter because a fence sitter would never hop off the fence. I do hop off the fence, but I just let it bruise up my cheeks a little bit. I'll stay on the fence for as long as I can.
advice and
Once my cheeks start
setting
getting cut
tax
up, I
schemes
gotta
for a
hop
lot of
off.
very, very rich people.
Right, but why was
And
he
possibly
motivated to influence...
Oh, he was about to
people.
say, and
Right,
possibly
but
from
why was
And
he
possibly
motivated to influence academia, and what was the purpose?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I can answer that. He's a control freak. He's a guy that wanted to control everything that everybody around him did. I don't think that you can, it was pathological with him. Like, he was trying to tell Bobby Kotick
not
how
gonna-
to run call.
I'm not going to act like I know what Epstein was thinking and feeling throughout his pitiful existence, but I would say that's about right. If anyone knows that money can corrupt people, it's probably Asmongold.
Call of Duty. Unfortunately, Bobby Kotick listened. And now, Jeffrey Epstein was suggesting microtransactions. He's a control freak. He's a narcissist, yeah.
I have theories.
Damn, is he really the reason?
Well, most people think he was Mossad.
Yeah, Mossad or CIA or some other deep state, whether in America or Israel or another
Or
country, or both. Look, he clearly had connections to the highest levels of American intelligence.
sure did.
He clearly had connections to the highest levels of Israeli intelligence.
He sure
Dude, he
did.
knew everybody. He knew everybody.
That's crazy. You think there's still Epstein investigations going on? I'm sure there are here and there, but yeah. Oh, here. Uh-oh. J.D. Vance says he's being accused of being Israel. Here we go.
But again,
Before he starts on this, let me give my little take. I know it's not the most crazy one as far as Israel goes. I don't think Israel has a great plan to stop their fighting. Okay? I understand we've invested too much. They're our little Middle East friend and all of that. They're our outpost out there, our friends. We can't lose them. We've already invested too much. We're too deep. So that's why we obviously send them all the money in the world. And they've been through terrible, terrible things. It's like every other country. But maybe Israel a little bit worse than others, if that's your subjective opinion. But even then, I just don't ever see Israel's plan to stop. They just are always fighting. It seems like whenever they've stopped fighting, they've been attacked too. So it's like, at some point, it's got to stop, right? Like, I don't know. If we ever want, like, world peace, which is not probably ever possible if I had to guess. If you ever want something close to that in the Middle East, Israel's like the main, they're involved. They're the X factor in the most amount of conflicts. Whether you believe they are always responsible or not. We send them a ton of money.
And I see that there's a literal foreign influence campaign being funded to tank the very deal that I was pursuing. And oh, by the way, many of the people who were receiving that money were actually attacking me in completely dishonest ways. My response to that is, well, go to hell. I'm going to do what I have to do for the American people. I represent Americans first, and that's the way that I've tried to do this job. And Joe, the crazy thing is, I'm like, people don't realize this. I'm actually in this, there's this massive pro-Israel, anti-Israel debate in the United States of America.
Huge one.
I'm like the reasonable moderate. And I think that's what so many people don't realize.
I agree with him on this. I think that he's not super pro-Israel. He's not super anti-Israel.
So he's a normal
he's
human?
kind of in the middle.
He's just a normal human being.
He's reasonable about it, yeah.
Is I've been accused of being an anti-Semite.
Oh.
I've been accused
For
of,
what reason?
For what?
quite literally for I've been accused of trying to, I guess some people say that I've insulted the Jewish religion, which is insane.
Really?
Like I have a ton of respect for the Jewish religion. I mean, if you talk about,
what specifically did you say?
I don't know. I've never heard a good, compelling argument for why I'm an anti-Semite, even though I've been accused of being an anti-Semite by many people.
Did you disagree with something that Israel did? You did? Okay, well then there you go. That's why.
But what always...
That's kind of true. It seems like people are very, very quick to both attack and defend Israel all the time. I don't know why everyone blames them for everything.
What I say to these guys is...
Classic.
Look at public opinion.
Classic mistake.
Look at the way young Republicans versus Republicans over the age of 65 approach this issue.
Yeah, it's literally like the opposite. Where like old Republicans like 80-20 support Israel, and young Republicans 80-20 don't support Israel.
Like right now, Israel
Crazy
is
difference.
losing the public opinion battle in the United States of America. It is a simple and obvious fact.
The Vice President of the United States just said that publicly.
I think I would agree. It seems like more people than not. My biggest concern, as terrible as it sounds, is like how much money we send them. And that's only because I'm not over there fighting in the wars, or else that would be the biggest concern. But we send them so much money all the time, like package after package after package. And I get it, we're like investing into them, but that's my biggest issue. It's got to have an end
That's
date.
fucking crazy. Oh my God. I think that's a really big deal.
Trump has said that publicly. It's a simple and
Why do you
obvious
think
fact.
that is?
Well, let me finish this point.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, my attitude is towards this is Israel is an ally. Like France or like the United Kingdom,
Sure.
we're going to have disagreements with them. We're going to have agreements with them. There are areas where we're going to have similar interests and areas where our interests are going to diverge. So my approach to this is to say, you know what? When we're partnered, great, let's work together. And we're not, let's just be honest about it. And
By the way,
I like
this is
that.
exactly what I've said the whole. This is
like
what
that.
I want to hear. This is exactly the way that I feel.
for that,
Yes.
people attack me for being
Well, I mean, Asmon's more of like, if our interests diverge, then F you, right? He's more of a, I feel like he's more of a like, okay, if we're not going to agree or if you're going to disagree with me, F you. Don't care. Go on. Go disagree all you
anti-Semite or
want. He doesn't like
anti-Israel, and
ever
they don't
conform or
see
ever try
the
to
writing on the
mediate or
wall,
ever.
that I'm
what's the
actually
word?
just the guy advocating for a normal relationship
Exactly.
with a
He doesn't ever try to meet you halfway anywhere. It's his way or the highway.
normal country that's based around shared interest as opposed to based around, something else. So why is Israel losing American public opinion?
Well, the narrative is that Israel.
Oh, he doesn't want to answer it. I'm going to answer it right now. Number one, anti-Semitism is the OG racism, and if you import a bunch of people from countries that have that racism built into what they do in the country, the way that they feel, it's part of their culture, then yes, obviously that's the case. You're bringing in foreign identity
I think OG racism, that was a wild set of words to use. But what happened to my stream? Let's take a moment. Everything's okay. It's alright. I guess it was just my phone. Sorry. Fuck. ADHD,
then
I'm sorry.
yes, obviously that's the case. You're bringing in foreign identity politics. It's the same as if you bring in a bunch of Somalians, you're going to have those people that, they have problems
yeah,
with people.
OG racism. I cannot believe I just heard that from the guy. OG racism. Pretty sure that goes way back, right? Like way back. It's not way before Germany. Okay, I know he's referencing Germany for that 10th time per stream. But
people in Kenya, right? I mean, that's it. So that's number one. So you change demographics. Those demographics come from places that have different viewpoints on this topic. You're going to have a change. It's the same thing as if you bring in people from, like the Middle East and you ask, why is gay support going down? Geez, guys, it's a fucking mystery. So that's number one. Number two, the videos of them bombing Gaza and all the kids crying, all the children being displaced, etc.
it was like one of the first days of when the war like re-popped off. There was like a huge news story that like one of the first targets the U.S. or maybe Israel hit was, I think it was the U.S. Was a school, and some people were saying, well, they were purposefully housing people we wanted to kill so that we would not attack them, but we did it anyway. But like, I saw videos, I saw pictures. You never know what's fake, you never know what's not, but it definitely seemed like, because it was in the news later, that the White House put out a statement that they were investigating it. They ended up saying that they acted off of potentially outdated info, was their final statement, which is pretty much saying, yes, it happened, but it's not all of our fault. So
looks bad. Whether you think it is bad or not is not relevant. It does look bad. And for a lot of people, I think especially women, they see that and it scares them and it upsets them and it makes them not like Israel. I think that's another factor. I think another third factor is AIPAC. AIPAC and the fact that we have all these Israeli flags flying around in our congressmen's rooms, I think that's a huge problem. I see an Israel flag.
yeah, have you guys seen, is it Schumer? Chuck Schumer? He's got like an Israeli flag outside of his door. I think it's either above the American flag, which would be crazy, but maybe I'm misremembering that. Like maybe it's right below it. A little bit better symbolically, but still.
in an American
world?
congressman's fucking office, and I want to send that guy over to fucking Israel. I'd say the same thing with Somalia. I'd say the same thing with fucking anywhere else. Like, if you think this country is so great, get the fuck out of here and go over there. And so, anyway, Ted Cruz, yeah, Ted Cruz is one of them. Randy Fine are one of them. And I like Ted Cruz. I like Randy Fine. But the reality is that, fuck you. You can't do that. Get that fucking flag out of here. You're an American, Mike Huckabee. Yeah, there you go. And so there's that. And then on top of that, there is the reframing.
I guess as long as it's America first, but people like Schumer, you've heard him say like unequivocally that he will always support aid to Israel. That's not okay. You can't. You cannot say that. That is. You cannot behave like that. You can. If you actually live like that, that's horrible. You cannot just say that like no matter what our ally does, you will support them, even if they're our closest ally. I don't know if they are, but they're one of them. That's horrible.
Of criticism of
That's our
Israel, to
money.
criticism of Jewishness,
Not
and
Chuck Schumer's money.
anti-Semitism categorically,
Taxpayer money.
and then
paid
assigning
in
that a
taxpayer money.
unique evil that is separate and different than any other form of racism, as if they have the monopoly on being oppressed. I think on top of that, it is Israel, AIPAC, ADL, and all these other, tangentially aligned organizations that are trying to create ways that they
Tangential.
can socially pressure people into not criticizing their country's decisions. Like, for example, like making rules and like trying to do censorship and stuff like this. So all those are the reasons why people hate Israel. I would say those are, and that's in no particular order, by the way. But like those are the reasons why people hate Israel.
I mean,
Has
I
a
agree, I
very
think.
disproportionate
Wait, that's
effect
why
on
people hate
American
it?
politics.
Yeah, I see that narrative. I mean, I actually think that
Bro, like, how are you going to say it's not true whenever there's... how many people have other flags of, like, France, the UK, Germany flying around in their offices? It's only Israel. We have
Is that true?
dozens of other allies around the world that we have close relationships with, whether it's Japan, Canada, even Mexico to a lesser extent, but especially the European countries. There's probably another one that I'm not thinking of right now that's a big ally. But in general, we have a lot of these allies, but we're never actually activating on that on the same level that we do with Israel. We don't see their flags. Australia. You don't see any of these other flags around. It's only
Yeah, I
Israel
guess we're kind of
flags.
allies, yeah.
That's
Or at
the
least not
reason.
enemies
And
with
by the way,
Australia.
it's the same thing that I said with like the Helen of Troy, DEI casting stuff, all this bullshit. Average people, like, this is what's crazy about the human mind, is that a lot of people understand when something's fucky, but they might not have the critical thinking skills or the IQ to be able to really verbalize why.
I mean, it was already bad enough, and he said the IQ. Oh my god, if Asmongold took an IQ test, first of all, IQ tests mean nothing. Okay, that's just absolutely nothing. If you can, I don't know, but oh goodness. Some people just, maybe it's myself included, but some people are very overestimating of themselves. And maybe it's confidence. Maybe it's ego. In Asmon's case, he's had a lot of success. Maybe he just really feels it. But man, when some people start to call other people stupid, first thing I look at is who is the person calling them stupid. I don't look at who they're calling stupid. I look at who's calling that person stupid. What room do you have to talk? Now, Asmongold's from the U.S. I think he went to high school. He's not the dumbest person in the world, but and he's constantly into videos of politics and stuff. So I'm sure he has some kind of knowledge of politics. But like, does he have knowledge of anything else? Right? Or like just anything else? Anything. He says he likes graphs a lot, which is hilarious as a data scientist. But I like graphs too, so I mean, I'm not one to hate on him. I started with just liking graphs too, but then I got into actual data science, right? And yeah, so I mean, he's not stupid. But when Asmongold calls someone stupid, Something just rings off my head.
why they think it's fucky, but their brain, their instinctual, ape brain, lizard.
You could kind of see it right there. This is the
but
guy.
their
This is the guy telling people that they have 8 brains. 8 brains is what he just said. They're stupid. Like, if you see his little finger right here,
brain.
this guy telling you that you have an 8 brain or whatever. That's what happened when he tried to catch a football, just like a American football, hand egg. You know what I'm saying? If you're European, whatever the hell you call it. That's the guy calling people stupid. He might say, "Oh, physical fitness doesn't mean anything as far as intelligence." Taking care of yourself absolutely does. Yes, and if your bones are so brittle, you can't. I played basketball a lot growing up, and then I also had very skinny fingers, just like him. And what would happen all the time, like probably once a month, I would jam my finger just from basketball, and it would hurt for like a day or two. I like always recovered perfectly fine. No like deformities, no pain that lingered.
Their
He needs to have
instinctual,
surgery on that.
ape brain,
It's disgusting.
lizard brain in the very back of their
Look at him
mind
try to hide it now.
tells them, because it's evolved for thousands of years to notice these trends and to exist subconsciously, and it's telling them something's not quite
His
right.
bone is like poking out. It's right here. It's like his knuckle.
Something's not.
It's like a second knuckle.
I'm detecting a
Because
pattern
his knuckle's
here,
right
and
here,
they
but
might
he's got
not
some-
even
like a tumor.
understand it,
Like a,
but it's there.
oh, did you see him try to point it?
They-
Like
Look,
a
do
Doctor
they try to influence
Strange.
American politics? Yes, but like I said earlier, a lot of other
Calling
countries
people
do.
stupid.
I think
To
some
the
are,
extent that Israel
I
does,
think
though?
some are better at it than others. I think the Israelis are definitely more effective at it than most, but I wouldn't say that they're the only effective country by any means that tries to influence American politics. I just think you have to be self-aware about it. I mean, why wouldn't you? It's a country of 9 million people. We have 330 million people. And so, of course, they're going to try to persuade Americans. They're going to try to move Americans in one direction or another. I think that's just the nature of the beast.
I think Israel is unique too because Israel is a projection of
That's act-
Western and America.
That's actually a really good statement by Vance. And I liked it a lot. It's like, do you really think that Israel doesn't have anything to gain by trying to like coerce our politicians and our people? 9 million to 330 million. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we supplied half of their military budget at this point on any given year. Like they probably truly rely on us. So they need our politicians to hang their flags. I think I might agree with Asman a bit when that's just too far. Like we give you too much and it's too far.
American power in the Middle East. That's basically why,
My issue is there is no end date. I do not see Israel's plan to stop the fighting. They've put up some truces here and there, but like there's no end date to it. And even when Israel has been, as I said earlier, even when Israel's been in times of peace, they get attacked. Someone attacks them. And it's like, well, now they have to defend themselves and it starts all over again.
Israel is different.
More than that, the concern is that they're spying on American politicians. That there's concerns about funding. There's concerns about influence. There's concerns about whether or not politicians are, whether they're aligned with Israel or whether they're aligned with the United States first.
Exactly.
Well, there's certainly, like, I definitely get those concerns, but my sense is that the way that all foreign influence works in the United States is people try to manipulate American public opinion, and then from manipulating public opinion, they try to get the outcomes that they want. I mean, this thing
He's right. I mean, he's obviously
Yeah,
right.
isn't that
is a
what
very
manipulation
good
is?
example of this.
I think, and I do think that J.D. Vance is right about this, but I think that he has to have stronger messaging about either he has to either go in one direction or another. I think that he's too wishy-washy about it right now, and he's just like he's saying like I basically I understand how you feel, and I don't think that's enough for these people one way or another. It's not enough for the pro-Israel people because they're like, well then why aren't you helping us? And it's not enough for the anti-Israel people. It's like, well why aren't you calling out this foreign influence, right? Because I do think that
I can tell you why, Mr. Asmongold. It's because if you really want the Israeli foreign interference to quit, okay, what about UK? What about, Canada? What about Mexico? What about, China? about the foreign influence that comes from Russia, foreign influence that comes from every other country that we have a relationship with at all. Now, are we hanging up flags in our politicians' rooms of all those other countries? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm sure there's some multicultural, maybe biracial person from a country or had family from a country, and she's got her flag up too, next to the U.S. one. Dude, there's foreign influence from everyone. That's the name of the game. And if you think America isn't doing the same thing, I've got a horrible time news to give you. I've got a pretty big slice of news to give you, my guy. America does it just as much as the worst. I promise. Because there's a lot of people's lives at stake. There's a lot of money at stake. There's wars at stake. There's governments at stake. When national security is involved, or even if they can just claim it's national security, everything is on the table. Nothing is off the table. And that goes for any country.
Yes, Israel is way, way better.
Asmongold would follow. Asmongold should recognize that Israel is following Asmon's own advice. Always put your best interest first. Period. Always act in your own best interest first. Now, it's very nuanced, okay? But that's what Israel's doing in my eyes.
And let's say Zimbabwe is.
And it's working for them, I guess.
While other countries are trying to influence American politics, we have to look at which countries are doing it, which countries are effective, how they're doing it, and if the way that they're doing it is beneficial to America at all, or if it's just purely damaging. So yeah, that's the way I would see it. And let me see. Oh yeah, this is a voter ID.
And I think they cheat. And I think they've been doing it forever. And I don't think there's any other reason why you would have no voter ID. And they try to say, oh, it's racist to have voter ID. Like,
is it racist to buy alcohol?
What are you talking about? Do you think other races are incapable of going to the DMV? That's insane.
Yeah,
that's racist.
It's actually super racist.
That's really racist.
Right, the implication of their argument is literally like blacks and Hispanics cannot go to the DMV to get an ID. By the way, if you look at the...
He just says it. He just...
But the thing is, I'm very torn on I'm still on the fence on the whole voter ID thing. I think if you can prove that you are a resident when you go and vote, don't you already do that? Like, you already show ID, give your information, general information. Or maybe you don't have to show your ID, and that's what I'm missing out. I think you should have to show your ID, right? But that should be really about all you need to do. I mean, I think you have to, register for a party. Maybe. You might not even have to do that. I don't know. But then you vote, and that should be it. That's it. I don't see you for another 4 years or 2 years for midterms, whatever.
Oh my God.
Black Americans are as pro.
If they're trying to introduce more steps that only Hispanics and blacks have to do, even if it is just going to the DMV, then yes, that is right. That's a race thing, right? I'm not gonna say they're racist, but it seems like it, right? At least that's my knee-jerk reaction. If everyone has to do it, whatever they're talking about, go to DMV to get a new card or whatever. If everyone has to do it, okay, maybe, all right. Still a bit of a pain. I'm not sure why we would need
voter
to.
ID, even though
if you already prove that you are a citizen and have an address
pro voter ID as much as white Americans is.
Most Americans are voter. They want voter ID, except for operatives.
So I'll offer on the Joe Rogan podcast this deal as vice president of these United States that if Democrats really don't think that there's any cheating, give us voter ID.
I just don't know
give
how
us voter
it's
ID,
not.
and we'll stop talking.
Why
so
is that not
elections.
a federal thing?
We are trying to make it a federal thing. So we are right now trying to pass the
Crazy they don't have voter ID.
Save America Act. One of its
Is
main...
voter ID different than ID? There has been a lot of talk of this voter ID thing that seemingly stems from the Republican side of U.S. politics. And I'd like to learn a bit more about it. Is this like a whole new ID? Like apart from a driver's license or birth certificate? Would everyone need to get this new ID? If so, or is it only certain races? It better not be certain races, that is. Or no, actually type it out, that's just races. Voter ID refers to requirements that voters present some form of identification before casting a ballot. It is not a single new federal identification card that everyone is required to get. Rather, it refers to existing documents used to verify identity. It's not a new universal ID. There's no national voter ID card. States set their own rules regarding what forms of ID are acceptable. Driver's license, yeah, I mean, seems like that should be all you really need. If it has like a US address on it, you can see when they got it, right? It's not expired, anything like that. All voters in states where such laws, not just specific race. 36 states require voters to present some form of identification at polls, while it remaining 14 states do not generally require it. Okay, I think you should. I think you probably should at least show some kind of ID. Yeah. Wow. Actually, it's kind of interesting.
Is a requirement that you do voter ID. And we actually have, I think, a majority of the Senate that would
Completely fucking agree on this one, right? Yeah. Corrupt emotional retards? I know, man. And then so, oh, here we go. Is this more Jeffrey Epstein stuff?
That's so weird. Like, why did they mention the DMV, though? That's just where you gotta get your license and whatnot. But it's like, can't they, if you're in from another country and you have like a green card or whatever, a visa, I don't know, would that count as ID? Are they saying that's not enough? Like they shouldn't be allowed to vote? Because we already have rules, like they're not allowed to run for office if you weren't like born in America. There's already rules like that. I think the whole point of like the Democratic Republic is to allow anyone who is a citizen to vote. So if the argument is someone here on a green card is not a full citizen, someone here on a visa is not a full citizen, okay. If they don't have a permanent residence, they can't show you their driver's license, okay, I could probably understand.
He clearly had connections to the highest levels of American intelligence.
Part of this I saw.
He clearly had connections to the highest levels of Israel. And I try to make this point. It's one of the reasons why I'm always careful, and I say there are some elements within the Israeli government who don't like our peace process, because there are a lot of elements within the Israeli government that actually do like our peace process.
The Israeli government is probably the same as the American government, where it's comprised of a bunch of people with different political opinions. There are probably some people who think Benjamin Netanyahu is amazing, and some people who think that he's evil.
Recognize
probably,
that this
right?
indefinite campaign is not good for them either. And the Epstein thing is interesting because as much as I know, Prime Minister Netanyahu, not a particularly popular person in the United States of America right now, Epstein seemed to be connected to the elements of the Israeli deep state that were left of center. Like, I've always found that fascinating. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like he was super connected to the right of center of Israeli politics. America, he was connected across.
He was across the board, yeah, that's true. And
so that means he probably just had like
Vance
only a couple of connections in Israel.
Joe Biden is guilty of mishandling Epstein file release.
That's true, absolutely.
But I definitely think you have seen this very discreet, extremely well-funded campaign to try to derail the negotiation and try to derail the deal. And there's this Time article that came out yesterday. A friend sent it to me. It's like worth reading because it lists a bunch of people who have quite literally been paid by a former Trump campaign person who was himself paid by certain elements within the Israeli government. And those people are attacking me viciously for quite literally trying to accomplish the negotiation objective that the president set for the country.
You see, this is the kind of stuff that universal suffrage creates. Because if you had everybody that was smart voting, like only landowners voting, for example, you wouldn't have this garbage happening. Because...
Okay, what? Okay, that was a lot to process. So he's saying that's the reason. That's what happens when everyone's allowed to vote. He said this a few times on stream. He thinks that everyone in the world shouldn't have the right to vote. And that's just... It's so un-American, is what it is. I mean, if anything else... I'm not even saying that everyone should have the right to vote, obviously not. But to say that, like, you have to really lose your right to vote. I think there's people like felons in America. And I'm not sure, these laws have been around for a while. They could have changed. I could be wrong. But I think felons aren't allowed to vote, amongst other things. And that's pretty much it. I mean, if you're not a citizen, I guess. But we even just saw that there's 14 or so states that allow you to vote without even proving your ID. That's horrible. So I think you should just be, if you are a citizen, I don't care what your views are, go vote. In fact, I ask you to go vote. But I don't know, let's let him finish the sentence, because maybe I'm just super hungry and not hearing him correctly.
people would be able to see through this garbage.
He's saying it wouldn't happen if only...
Because everybody...
They all have... Sorry. Oh, sorry, hang on. Sorry. Just everything aside. For a second. Just having some hunger issues. I'm down to like 120 or something pounds. I'm not doing too good physically, but it's okay. It's just it goes by after a minute or so. Back to normal. It's 1:45. We'll finish up this video here the next little bit, and then we'll finish up with stocks, and then might take a little break. Again, I should be able to go live on YouTube tonight. We'll have to see.
Can vote. We have
The
this
24
total,
hours should be up
the goy herding.
tonight.
This is why it has to happen.
So
what is their position? Like, they're attacking you how?
Oh, it's social media posts. It's they're leaking to reporters. They're attacking me obsessively, saying that we should not be negotiating with Iran. We should just keep the military campaign going indefinitely, and that is their explicit position. And coming after me, saying that people have come after me and say that I'm influenced by Qatar, that I'm influenced by foreign governments, that I take my marching orders from Tucker Carlson, and there's just so much bullshit out there. When what I'm actually trying to do is accomplish what the President of the United States told me to accomplish, which is a settlement of this that accomplishes our objectives.
Amazing.
Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. We have the free flow of oil and gas. And like, I should be clear, I don't actually mind. I don't mind that let's say certain elements of the Israeli government want to criticize the deal or have disagreements about the deal.
Of course, that's what's going to happen.
I don't even mind an effort to try to influence, foreign governments try to influence the United States all the time.
I do mind that. I have a problem with that.
You should have a problem with that. That was kind of wild to say that he doesn't have a problem with that. That's definitely, that's not good. Even I just said that though, right? Like even I just named a few countries that are like known for that. But the thing is, we do it too. So.
And I think that we should look at that as an external threat. We should. Like, these are people that are trying to, and it's a matter of how they're doing it. It's like
You're not going to stop every government in the world from their espionage. You're not going to. If they're alive, they're going to have spies and espionage and all that. That's just how the world works. They're going to have informants. They're going to have agents. They're going to have intelligence officers. They're going to have social media warriors and shit posters.
it's one thing if you're telling people the truth. It's another if you're lying.
You know, Israel does it, other countries do it. It's just sort of the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
What bothers me is actually when Americans allow, meaning American leadership, allows that influence to affect their judgment.
It's because everybody can vote.
Well,
If everybody can vote, you immediately default down to the lowest common denominator. And the lowest common denominator is a complete goy cattle retard that's going to keep
Goy cattle. Oh my god, bruh. You know what sucks about that point? There are people who will vote for the wrong reasons, for the wrong people. But they have every right, the same amount of right that Asmongold has, to make that vote. Asmongold has had to backtrack on what he said before. He's had to verbally apologize. Go live on stream and say, I was wrong. I said it the wrong way. I made a mistake. Should he just not be allowed to vote anymore? Like, what's the line? Does everyone take an IQ test? Who creates that IQ test? Asmongold? Okay, Asmongold better hope there's a bunch of WoW questions on it, or else he's not passing it. Like, I don't think Asmongold realizes when he keeps mentioning IQ, like, what true intelligence is. Intelligence isn't being, like, a master of just rage baiting. He's really good at what he does. Like, he's super good at making YouTube videos. And I don't think he actually makes the videos. I think his editor does. He's really good at turning on the camera and talking into the camera, watching videos. But like, Asmon, what else you got, bro? Money. That's all you got, bro. Money. I would love your money. Everyone would love your money, man.
hear
That's all you
anything
got,
like
so.
that and immediately
You know who I don't want voting? Someone who didn't go to college at all. Okay? If you made it through high school with less than like a 2.0 GPA, I'm talking like straight C's and a bunch of fails or something. I don't even know what a 2.0 is. Like, if you didn't get a good enough education in high school, maybe we can use that. But like, that's Aspen. If you haven't worked a real job and have been taxed by the government for like more than 5 years of your life, you're not allowed to vote. How about that, Asman? Because what do you vote? Yeah, we're probably using a lot of your money, but like, okay, guess get over it.
lose their mind.
And to affect,
That's the reason why.
You're gonna pay
they're
those taxes
advocating
either way, guy.
That's what really bothers me. People are always going to try to influence the United States of America, whether they're allies of ours or whether they're enemies of ours. But again, when I open up the pages of Time magazine and I see that there's a literal foreign influence campaign being funded to tank the very deal that I was pursuing, and oh, by the way, many of the people who were receiving that money were actually attacking me in completely dishonest ways, you know, my response to that is, well, go to hell. I'm going to do.
Yeah, fuck off. Like, what is this? Yeah, exactly. And
let
Go
me
to
see
hell's
if I can
all
find
macho
any
and
more of
stuff,
these
but does it
here
fix the
and,
problem?
pull it up. And I don't know if there's any more of these other posts to say before. Definitely the armbar part. Oh, no, it's not that. Pull up the Iran deal. Oh, L.A. reminds him of a third world country. Uh-oh.
Skid Row is now 55 blocks. It was 50 blocks
Yeah, dude,
just like
so-
a year or two ago.
Wait,
Okay,
so it's
so my
growing?
first experience with
I have been to Skid Row. I stayed in a nice loft at the top of a building in downtown, like right next to. We went and ate at a place that had homeless people just walking right past, up to us and past us, high as a kite. Seen it. It's all good. Listen, I'm from a city that's not very wealthy. Okay, if you compare LA to my city, two different worlds, my guy. We got 55 blocks is bad in LA. All right, 55 blocks. Yeah, the whole east side of my city's bad. Like the entire east portion of my city's bad. Okay, and we got places down south bad. We got places down north bad. West is known as a little bit safer. Hell, I can tell you right now, I know it ain't all safe out west. Don't ask me how I know.
Skid Row was, so Usha used to work at this like very fancy litigation firm in Southern California. Before she was second lady, she was a corporate litigator. So there's a Christmas party in downtown LA, and you get these instructions from her firm, and they're like this really convoluted way of, this is how you have to get to this Christmas party. And I'm like, why do I have to follow these directions? Why don't I just put it in Google Maps, right? This is like 5 or 6, 7 years ago. So we realized that the reason why they gave you these convoluted directions was so that you could avoid Skid Row at night.
You have to drive around them.
And so you get to this party.
Oh
you
my
drive
God.
through Skid Row if you follow Google Maps' directions. You get there, and it's like this beautiful facility with like fancy food and fancy
That was my
wine,
experience with
and
LA
then
too.
there are armed guards outside of it and these gigantic walls. And I realized when I was there, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of going to the U.S. Embassy in Portland.
Why is his face like that? What did Asmon hear that just made him look like that?
And then there are armed guards outside of it and these gigantic walls. And I realized...
Yeah, I mean, LA is, he just said 55 blocks. And yes, that's very big. LA especially, that's a lot of people. But like, why is Asmon, like, there's a lot of very nice, LA is a very, very, very big, large country. County. LA County, it's got like 25 something million people. Israel has 9. Okay, LA County, just the city and the surrounding county, it's like triple that population. It's a different world, but that just what I was just now saying is like there's different parts of it that are very nice. I stayed in a nice place in Skid Row. It was nice. Was it in Skid Row? Yes. But guess what? That's how you save a lot of money staying in LA. I stayed in Santa Monica too. I stayed in NorCal. I stayed in Santa Rosa, San Francisco. San Francisco pretty bad too, but
when I was there, you know what this reminds me of?
there's
This
junkies in
reminds
my
me of
state
going
too. There's
to
junkies
the
in
U.S.
Vance's
Embassy
state. There's
in
junkies
Port-au-Prince,
everywhere.
Haiti. Like in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Like
I can't believe they have him on here just wilding out saying this shit. Holy fuck, man.
super security, crazy wealth and privilege and status on the inside, and squalor and misery on the outside. Like, it's the first time I'd ever thought America, like, this part of
My
America...
experience was actually the opposite in LA. My experience was, it was downtown where Skid Row's at, downtown LA. And then it was everywhere around that had all the money. So, like, and either way, you could go north, you could go south, a bunch of money. Now, there's places down south that don't have too much money. Like, once you get toward the Arizona border, New Mexico border,
is actually more like a third world country than anything.
there's poorer places down there. It starts to get very deserty.
Fuck, man. He just okay. Well, there you go. And I don't know what to say. It's just fucking insane to see that. It's worse than a third world country. This episode is great. I'll watch probably one more. This is the other big one.
It's just very disheartening that you have to consider the fact that it's really possible that the elections get stolen. And the California one was a big one for me.
And why not just have mail-in, or why not just have voter ID?
Yeah,
You actually
that's
saw...
insane. Not only did they not have voter ID,
Yeah.
you can't show your ID. You're not allowed to show your
You
ID.
can in fact be like prosecuted if you try to force somebody to show their
Which
ID.
is, that seems like you
It's ridiculous,
want
too.
people
I
to
agree.
cheat.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's
You know what I always say? If it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it acts like a duck, it's probably a fucking duck. They're probably cheating. The reason why it looks like cheating is because they're probably cheating.
It's from the same people that were saying you have to have an ID that shows you've been vaccinated just 4 years
to
ago
go,
Yeah.
to go to
a
grocery
restaurant.
shopping or to go to a restaurant. Yeah, no, it's definitely.
That's another good point. Yeah. Again, like these are the same people that wanted you to have a vaccine passport to go to the grocery store. Says that you aren't allowed to have an ID to vote for the
Okay, hang on. Sorry, my stomach's giving out on me. With COVID, man, it was highly contagious. It was killing people. If a store, a privately owned store, wants to refuse service to anyone for any legal reason, they can do that. I'm pretty sure as long as it's not some kind of like racist reason, they're allowed to do pretty much refuse service for anything. For any reason. As long as it's not like they blatantly say it's because you're black or because you're a woman or because you're Asmongold or something.
the mayor.
That's the part about
It's
it
like a
that I
worldwide
think
pandemic,
makes
bro.
most people of my political persuasion skeptical of what the Democrats are doing.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't want to cheat in the election, then just make everybody actually show an ID. What another thing people don't realize is, I didn't realize this until a couple years ago.
Yeah.
The voter ID solves a lot of the mail-in ballot problem, because if you have to show an ID in order to get a mail-in ballot, in order to actually, confirm that there's a real identification.
Of course. Wait a minute. You don't have to give them an ID to get a mail-in ballot?
I agree. Just like I said earlier, that is a bit ridiculous. Mail-in ballots also, I mean, a lot of like politicians and people use them. People that are like traveling. But I think the same rules should apply. I'm actually okay with having mail-in ballots if it's the same. You have proven you are a citizen. You have proven you are allowed to vote and have a residence in America.
What?
But you have to prove that.
Well, then how can they be sure they're sending it to the person that... Really? What the fuck? I assume that you...
Match to that vote, that solves a big chunk of the problem.
It's just logical.
Yes.
Like, I'm not
Every country does it.
I'm not skeptical. I'm accusing them. I think they stole the election.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think it's common. And this idea that elections can't be stolen. I always say
Why not? Why not? Yeah,
course.
I mean, of course they're going to
Phones
cheat.
kind of
I mean,
influence
these
stuff.
are the same people that cheat. Remember they said, there's no fraud in Minnesota. Wow, there's a little... Wow! Well, Nick Shirley's just there to record. Oh, okay, all right, they got arrested. But what about okay, that guy got arrested too. Okay, well, there's no fraud account. Well, what about all the hospitals? Oh, wait, there's no hospices. It's like, again, I wonder if the people that are cheating on everything else are also cheating on this. It's insane.
people. Okay. Do you think
Oh my
that
God.
the amount of election fraud is zero?
I think both sides probably do the same amount of bullshittery. I really didn't understand. I actually learned something today, though. That's 14 states that don't require ID. Like, in any shape or form. Like, you can't even meet in the middle and, like, show your passport or your green card if you're not from the U.S. originally. Like, you can't just show nothing. Right? But, like, okay, so what's the worst that happens? I guess a bunch of people that Asmon and others would say don't have the right to vote would probably vote for someone, and then if that someone happened to be the guy who Asmon and Co don't like, then that's the problem, right? Because if they just voted and they all voted for the same person, right? Then I don't think Asmon would be as upset about it. I don't know. Maybe it would be.
0%. No one thinks that.
Nobody thinks
No one
that.
thinks it's zero.
Exactly.
There's always some overzealous person that works somewhere that's doing something. There's always crazy people that like blue no matter who, we gotta win, or red no matter what. There's always people, right and left, that are going to try to rig the election because they think it's
Absolutely.
imperative.
I'm glad Joe
what
said
we
right and
saw-
Think about if you actually think that Donald Trump is Hitler, and you really think that he's this evil, terrible, rapist, pet.
I think tomorrow, or like the next time I react to a Asmongold video, whenever that time is, I'm going to keep a count on the screen of how many times Germany or Hitler, or maybe even Jews as well. If I add Jews in there, it's probably going to be, I won't be able to keep count. So maybe just Germany and Hitler. How many times he even just makes a mention, no matter what the context is. Let's just
File
keep like a
that's going
count.
to kill everybody.
It's probably
and
been
he's
like
going to
100,000
become a tyrant
times
who's going
in
to
the last
destroy
year.
the United States and everything. If you really
Like
think
10,
that, imagine
20,
the
30
mind of a
times a
person
day.
who believes this.
Maybe
Of course, they're going to
10,000.
go to extreme lengths to stop that. Duh.
there was people like
Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey was saying it. Like, if we don't win this election, you may never vote again. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, why? Who's going to tolerate that? Left
right.
or right? That's crazy.
That's right.
But that attitude allows people to justify cheating.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I think they cheat. And I think they've been doing it.
Joe Rogan had someone on his podcast earlier this year where his opinions seemed to be pretty much that what the Democrats were trying to do this last election was like flood the ballots with illegal votes, because illegal votes, they equate to like Mexicans and like foreign people, and they say Democrats since they are kinder to foreign people and immigrants. That it's like this whole scheme to import more people that are more likely to vote for Democrats. So that was kind of his whole spiel. Do Democrats do that for specifically that reason? Maybe. I don't know. Do Republicans, do they care if some people, they would be willing for some people that deserve to come over here and have every right to, have earned it. Joe would be okay with them not coming over, getting to, if it meant no one illegal or that shouldn't be here got to be here.
Forever, and I don't think there's any other
And that's
reason
just,
why
I don't
we
know
have
how I
no
feel
voter
about
ID.
that.
And they try to say,
How much are you willing
it's
to sacrifice?
racist to have voter ID. Like, what are you talking about? Do you think other
And to answer that question, how much are you willing to sacrifice? You need to just balance the risk. You need to say, okay, is it worse if like the Democratic Republic of America gets overthrown? Or is it worse if, you know, the Democrats get a couple extra votes, but we have to then weigh how many people are going to get kicked out that don't deserve to be kicked out? How many people aren't going to get their votes heard that deserve to get their votes heard, have never done a damn thing in their life to not get their vote heard, other than just have a different color of skin, move here from somewhere that was probably way worse. And I said, okay, well, shit, I'm in a place way worse. I'm going to work hard, save a bunch of money, and move. You think it's not more expensive to live here than it is to live over there? You think they didn't have to spend money or come over here with a game plan to make money quickly? I don't know. I know Donald Trump had a huge Mexican support system. He had a huge African American support system. He had a huge youth support system. So it's not like Republicans gained nothing. You think none of those voters would vote Republican? Like not even 10%?
races are incapable of going to the DMV? That's insane.
Yeah, it's
that's racist.
It's actually super racist.
That's really
Right,
racist.
the implication of their argument is literally like blacks and Hispanics cannot go to the DMV to get an ID. By the way, if you look at the polling, Black Americans are as pro-voter ID. Even though most Black Americans vote Democrat, they're still pro-voter ID as much as white Americans is.
Most
White
Americans are voter.
So
They
this is a
want
crazy
voter
thing.
ID, except
Yeah.
for operatives.
So I'll offer on the Joe Rogan podcast this deal as vice president of these United States that if Democrats really don't think that there's any cheating, give us voter ID.
I just don't know
Give us
how
voter
it's
ID,
not.
and we'll stop talking. so
Why
much
is that
about
not
elections.
a federal thing?
We are trying to make it a federal thing. So we are right now trying to pass the Save America Act. One of its main provisions is a requirement that you do voter ID. And we actually have, I think, a majority of the
We can't do voter ID because Democrats won't win elections anymore.
Senate that would support it.
Oh, really?
But this is just weird.
I don't know. I think the Democrats have dug their own hole. As someone who's really independent, like truly, I have some right-leaning and some left-leaning values. But it's how could you possibly vote for Kamala Harris? Like, how could you do that? You know, there's like no facet of life that she's relatable in to like the majority of people. A prosecutor who would put people in jail for weed. No. You really thought that would win against Donald Trump, who just spends all of his time relating to his base? Whether he's faking it or not, you know, whether someone's probably more like Kamala than they are like Donald, you know, I guarantee most of his voters aren't shitting in a golden toilet. I'm just saying, Democrats kind of like dug their own hole. No one wants to see girls in guys' sports. Okay? That's just not that's not what anyone wants to see. At least 90, not to 95% of people. I mean, it's just stuff like that. No, I think they can have all the rights they want that anyone else gets. They have the same rights. Anyone in America, if you're a citizen, no matter what your sex, race, orientation, any of that. Don't care. You have the same rights as me. I have the same rights as you. Nothing more, nothing less. But if we decide as a whole that the majority of us want things a certain way, that's how the Republic works. That's how democratic
There is a
nations work.
subsegment of people who want voter ID but won't blow up the filibuster in order to achieve it. And so they're so married to these old world Senate procedures.
Exactly, bro. Like, that's exactly. I'm so glad that he sees this.
Please don't point at me with
These
that finger.
old
It's so
fucking
disgusting.
retarded dinosaurs that refuse to go extinct.
Ew, you can see it so good. It's like
Are so
shining. Oh my god. It's like a second knuckle.
Fixated around the policies and the procedures and the protocols that they don't care about what the problems are.
It's like a third or
That's
fourth
it.
knuckle.
That
I don't
they're
know.
making
It's
it
so
impossible for us to
annoying.
pass
Oh
Save
my
America. Now
God.
we are, for what it's worth, trying to fix that and trying to address these like weird procedural archaic things.
Who cares
It's
about the
insane, though.
procedure?
Like, have you ever? Okay, I'm sure you hear people talk about the filibuster all the time.
Yeah,
I don't want to
sure.
go too far down this rabbit hole. Here's what the filibuster is. It is a pure Senate rule. It is a creation of the Senate procedures, which basically says that anything that has to do with the budget is a 50 vote threshold, and everything else, non-budgetary, is a 60 vote threshold. Now, as you can imagine, there's some gray area on things that maybe count as budget issues and should be 50, or are not budget issues and count at 60. So what we have tried to persuade the Senate to do is to treat the voter ID as something that can fall within the 50 vote threshold. And there is no law, there's no provision in the Constitution. It is legitimately that there are senators who are so attached to the idea that budget is 50, non-budget is 60, that they're quite literally...
Then just add in paying for everybody's voter ID. Why can't they? Well, wait a minute. Couldn't they just add in the idea of giving everybody an ID? And like you could, like, wouldn't that just...
And like they pay for it or something? Okay, I'm kind of noticing it's like a rash. It is on both sides, but it is a bit more significant on his right side, I think. Damn, it's been the whole stream. He's had that whole video. Seems like it's only getting redder.
Wouldn't that? I don't know. Like, I have no idea. But like, wouldn't that work?
How do you
Like,
get a rash on
no,
your
no,
face?
no. You can't do that. That's ridiculous. Then it's budgetary. Like, I
Almost
feel
looks like an
that'd be
allergic thing.
right? I mean, I don't know anything.
voter ID in America.
I do listen. Just to say something quick about Asmon, because I don't like talking about people's appearance that much. It's only because Asmon always roasts everyone. I don't think Asmon realizes how much damage he's done to his body. Like, it is a miracle he's still like as strong as he is. Like, even though he's as strong as a toothpick. But I think it's like a miracle in itself that he is still very healthy, or at least seemingly healthy. I mean, his hair is falling out. I wonder if he realized he could probably slow that down, right? Like, some people can't, some people's hair just falls out, but it's not even trying. Like, you can just eat more nutrients.
America.
You know,
Yeah,
hair is just
that's
follicles,
too much
just
logic.
dead
Yeah,
cells.
why does it cost money anyway? I have no idea. And next fraud is ID centers giving out IDs to millions. Yeah, but like obviously you have to check about couldn't disenfranchise millions of eligible citizens, i.e.g. those without access to birth certificates, married women with name changes, seniors, Native Americans, those relying on mail-in voting. No, I don't believe that. And I think that if you end up getting disenfranchised because you have to provide an ID, it's probably because you're a fucking retard. Like, and that's something that people might, like, J.D. Vance isn't going to say this, but I'll say it. If you can't figure out how to get an ID, you are so incompetent and stupid that you have no business making decisions for the country. If you are so old that you can't figure out how to get an ID, then I don't want you voting because you're gonna be dead in 3 years anyway. It doesn't even matter.
Okay, well, I was about to say that I agree with him mostly. I think that, as I mentioned, the ID thing is like necessity. It's just gotta be. You gotta have that.
If you're married, and
Honestly,
you
it's
can't
right.
get
It's
an
not
ID,
even more than
it's
that.
because you're retarded. You're stupid. Like, if you are so stupid that you can't figure out how to do that, then you don't deserve to fucking vote. And if you are from a culture that doesn't have any IDs, whether it's Native American or an immigrant culture, and you are so far disconnected from the American experience that you don't even have a photo ID, then I don't want you voting in our presidential elections because you're fundamentally not really part of the country. Like, you don't even have a fucking ID and you want to vote for the president? Get the fuck out of here. So I think there was one more example. Oh, black people. Yes, black people don't know where the DMV is. Yeah, I think they do. So, yeah, it's just ridiculous. Native Americans have an ID card, though. It's a card that says they're Native American. I've seen it. Well, then, yeah, just have them use that instead. What do you mean? So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. Okay, this is the last one, gentlemen. Maybe, okay, all right.
People want to say we mishandled it.
This next one probably is really good. This is about the Epstein files, okay?
But if people want to say we mishandled the Epstein release, guilty.
You did. You fucked up. You fucked up massively, and it was the beginning of the end of public support for the Trump campaign because this was one of the main things that people online cared about, and you totally fucked it up. You did.
Did mishandle, especially the communications of it.
What do you think should have been done?
I think that we should have just dropped everything at the very beginning, and like
Fucking exactly. Yes, you
obviously
should
it takes a little time to review
right.
the stuff, to find the stuff, to redact things where you have
Yes.
victims and so forth. But we should have just done it as quickly as possible.
But some of the stuff that was redacted, some of the names that were redacted weren't
victims. Yeah.
So yeah, I've looked into this, and my understanding of this, having looked at a lot of this but not all of it, is that it is sometimes hard to draw a distinction between victim and co-conspirator. And like, let me highlight this in a very sort of obvious way. Ro Khanna, who's been one of the loudest voices on the Epstein file. Well,
Yeah, he was one of
became
the
very loud
co-writers.
on the Epstein files the minute Donald Trump became president. Didn't seem to care about it during the Biden administration. He actually brought one of the Epstein victims, I think, to the State of the Union last year, or maybe it was the year before last. Well, like that victim, and I'm not saying she wasn't a victim. I don't know anything about her particular case. She was also listed as a co-conspirator in some of these documents, right? So there's an idea that some of the people who were engaged in the sex trafficking were also...
This is very common, is that what he did, is Jeffrey Epstein did, is that he had girls that he had previously abused and sex trafficked. Then he took them and made them sex traffic and abuse the new set of girls after them. This is extremely common.
facilitating it as well.
So
I'm not sure how Asma would know that that's common, but I think we did hear something about. There was a story from, was it that Virginia Guffrey? If I'm saying her name wrong, I'm sorry. Rest in peace. She had been brought there by her friend who had been there before. So it's like, I think what was probably happening was they probably did get paid enough, and maybe what they had to do was not crossing their lines for most of the women. Okay, I cannot speak for all of them. I would never try to. Okay. Maybe some of them were just young and dumb and didn't realize what was really happening, or they were coerced, manipulated into bringing more people. And then maybe if some girls brought all their friends, then maybe they'd feel less bad
We're
for doing
incentivized to
it.
get more
Yeah.
girls.
Taking
Yeah,
money.
but yes, that's right. But the idea is that
That does
it's
not
hard
make
to
them
sort
guilty of
It's sometimes
sex
a little bit of a
trafficking.
gray area
You were
between
coerced.
some of the people who were alleged victims were also alleged co-conspirators, and so what DOJ tried to do was kind of make that judgment as best they could and release as much as possible.
Again, I think that they totally fucked it up. I'm glad that he's right. He's saying that they fucked it up. I'm very, very glad.
I actually don't at all like that response. I mean, there were so many. I'm a CoffeeZilla watcher. I watch him all the time. I mean, there's so many unneeded redactions. There are so many incorrect statements, so many lies and false promises, and the communications from the top down was just all over the place. I agree that they messed it up completely.
That's too broad of a brush here, but it's like, you know,
I also think J.D. Vance is very well aware of that there are certain high-ranking politicians, such as his boss, that are found throughout the Epstein files. I'm not saying anyone's guilty that hasn't been proven guilty, but you know, it's interesting how he managed to leave that out.
Gavin Newsom
That's like
did
the
this
biggest thing
speech
everyone
a few
cares
months
about.
ago. The president, I think it's the funniest thing ever because he's like speaking to a group of black leaders and black businessmen, but it's like an audience that is 95% black. And they're asking him about his dyslexia and his struggle with education. And he basically says, yeah, you know, I'm not very smart like a lot of you. And it's
Yeah,
like,
I'm like
whoa,
you. I can't
like
even
you.
read.
I can't even read.
Meanwhile,
What?
there's a ton of interviews where he's talking about all the books he reads. Like, he's so full of shit.
Yeah,
Can you believe that the vice president is saying this? Oh my fucking god.
I'm not a huge fan of Gavin Newsom. I probably would not vote for him. But what's sad is if he does run for well, if sad is the right word. If he does run for presidency as a Democrat, I'm pretty sure he's gonna lose. I'm like
He's full of shit, but
95%.
admirably full of shit.
But
I wouldn't be as confident that he loses. If Donald Trump doesn't run, then I would be less confident in him losing than I was in Kamala losing. I knew Kamala would lose. I knew it before, well before. Gavin, as long as he doesn't run against Trump, if he runs against Trump, it's probably gonna be like a 90-10 ratio. If he runs against like Rubio, he probably still loses. If the remaining 2 years of this administration goes decent, even just decent, I don't think there's any Democrat that I'm aware of that could beat like Rubio, maybe even Vance.
Meyer.
It's impressive how,
the
delusional he
sheer
is.
tenacity that he has in being full of shit. Because it's
agree.
amazing.
It really is amazing. But it speaks to the incentives of
He is a
there's
complete
kind of like
bullshitter.
look, there's a real populism, and I'm very much past too broad of a brush here, but it's like, you know,
Oh my god, yeah, I don't get that. The brand is, yeah, it's nuts, man. JD is one of us, yet somehow he became president. I guess so, right? And we even read it, the rape gang report. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, you're right about that. There's a lot of those examples. And definitely, let me scroll back down. I'm going to look at these other ones here and find everything else, because there's been a bunch of other bullshit that happened. And J.D. Vance, the elections were very suspicious. Uh-oh. Spencer Pratt retweeted this.
What happened with the
I don't know who
last
that is.
election
Who is Spencer?
in Los Angeles?
Shout out, Spencer.
Just the primary, I think
Is
was
crazy.
so super sus.
That was
Yes,
and
it
here's
is.
why it's super sus. Not just super sus that Spencer Pratt, who was in second place, got overtaken by Nithya Raman in the mail-in ballots, but that the mail-in ballots also passed a tax hike. The people voted to pay more taxes.
Yep.
In a state where you have the highest,
highest
taxes.
taxes. That's right.
They're like, we don't.
What the fuck? Give me a minute. I'll be right back. And good pause.
That is a bit weird, huh? That is a bit wild. But it's so, California is such a big state, dude. It's so hard to generalize any part of their population,
Okay, sorry.
besides the junkies, I guess.
Back.
Everyone's got those.
Pay enough.
Uh-huh.
That is insane.
that
And
is-
then when you have direct evidence that
Yeah.
they were recruiting homeless people,
That's right.
and they were getting homeless people and giving them cigarettes and cash. There's evidence. of
Yes.
this. To use their address and mail in ballots.
Yeah, I would be the Californian Joe who wakes up in the morning and says, you know what, I'm gonna go and vote for higher taxes.
I don't
'Cause
pay
I don't
enough.
pay enough taxes.
I feel like we could fix this if I just pay
If I just pay
5% more.
5%
Yeah.
more taxes.
5%
the
more is gonna
crazy
solve
thing
all the
about
problems.
it too is it's that okay. So after the initial ballot
5% in California is a lot.
it was Karen Bass was number 1, Spencer
Yep.
Pratt was right behind her, and then number 3, whatever this woman's
Nithya
name is,
Raman.
Nithya Raman. Okay, so
Know her name.
you would expect the mail-in ballots to be more or less like the original ballots in terms of 1, 2, and 3. I'm not saying Spencer Pratt's
Right.
going to win the mail-in ballot, but it just so happened that the third place person, in relative terms, did a lot better than the first and second place person.
Exactly.
Disproportionately
Such,
better.
such
Exactly.
that the Republican was actually kicked out of the race so that there's not actually a real election in California. That to
Yeah.
me was the crazy part. It's like you were designing the vote
Yeah.
share in order to
Very
kick
odd,
Pratt out
right?
and put the
About
third
that.
person into second place. That to me is like very, very bizarre. Because what is the theory of the mail-in vote that is somehow like so much more pro Nithya relative to Karen Bass?
Makes no
Exactly. It's not about Spencer Pratt. It's about her outperforming Karen Bass to such a wide margin.
Makes no
That was
sense.
Makes no
exactly
sense.
it.
Why would it be?
Yeah.
Why would it be? I mean, Karen Bass was ahead by
Yeah.
every metric.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all. If you just extrapolated that, it would make perfect fucking sense.
What happened?
Anyway,
with the-
let me scroll down and look at some of these other ones.
Well, that was something. Oh my god. That was wild. No, Mr. Beast, not today. Wow, that was... So, my issue is with a lot of that, okay? I actually agree with several points that were made, at least from Vance. Obviously, me and Asmon, I like watching Asmon because at least he speaks his mind, right? Like, even if I don't agree with it, at least he speaks his mind. But, a lot of my issues, curly hair and having lost 100 pounds, yeah, that was a big glow up, I guess. Mail-in ballots and stuff, as long as you've proven you're a citizen, I don't even know how you do that, mailing in, maybe like mail in a copy of your ID or something. But like, I do think you have to prove your citizenship. It's crazy. I didn't know 14 states didn't make you do that. But overall, I mean, if you expected anything else than some dramatic takes from Asmon, that's what he does. He plays up some of it. A lot of it seems like he means. But I'm not one for rounding up people and putting them in boxes. I think people should be allowed to vote unless the majority of our nation has come together and said that these people should not vote, then you should have every right to vote. Right? So that's how a democratic nation should work. That being said, thank you all for joining. I can't wait for the next Asmongold video. I'll have this one uploaded here soon. I'm still live on Twitch as we speak. I'm going to be trying to do a couple YouTube videos every single day, if not more. It just depends on how much I get to, but I'm aiming for at least 1 or 2 every single day. Also live on Twitch, and as of tonight, I will start being live on YouTube as well. So as long as that process goes okay, then I'll be multi-streaming on Twitch and YouTube. And that's along with the videos coming out. Got a lot of things in the works. If you're just visiting the channel, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We just came back yesterday after about a year break, maybe a little bit longer. I've been in college, and I've got 2 years left of my degree. I have a few weeks left till that starts back up. I'm still going to be doing this all through college, so it's more about how long I can survive. If you would, consider it. If you like the reaction video, if you like the other videos on my channel, drop a subscribe. It really would mean a lot. It really would mean a lot. I can't make money yet on YouTube until I get a certain amount of subs, and a couple other goals that will just come along as I keep making videos. So I'm not too worried about it, and it's super optional. I would appreciate it. It would really help me and my mom. It's the only people I have in my whole life. So thank you very much. If you're watching on Twitch, thank you very much. Come sub over there. You can sub on Twitch. I am an affiliate on Twitch. So I would very much appreciate any support over there, or even just a follow. Either way, thank you guys very much. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bleezy out. Peace, peace, peace.